Good morning, Central Coast, and welcome to Rhema CC. I'm Lindy Jones, your Sunday morning host, and we were just listening to What If by Blanca. What if, what if, what if? What if this, what if that? I tell you what, that has been a phrase in my mind that has been a turbulent thing to sort of and ah over. It's often been the underlying force of so many of my anxieties and ridiculous thoughts at times, but what if can certainly be spun into something amazing when we think of God, because when we sort of put those limits on who he is, I think that's the time where we sort of realise that, he's not given the room from us to show us exactly who he is, and sometimes we've just got to just let him go, don't we? What if we let him go to do his thing? What if we stopped controlling everything? What if we stopped needing to tell him how our life needs to unfold? What if we stopped and listened to him? What if, the list goes on. What if is a big phrase, and it can be captivating. It can also be controlling. We just have a way that, we have a need to have some perspective in how we control that whole sort of what if you like. I've taken that way too far, but that's okay. It's Sunday morning. Welcome to Sunday mornings. It's awesome to have you guys here with us. Thank you for joining us yet again. And if you happen to be a new listener, welcome. Welcome to the Rhema Central Coast family. It is awesome that you can spend some time with us, and we hope you are going to enjoy this place as much as we do. This world here of radio. It's nice that we have a clean radio station that we can just know that if we flick turn the volume up, we don't have to worry about what the kids are listening to, or, we don't have to worry about people getting offended. It's well and truly a place of support, actually. It's a great place, even not just in terms of just what you guys hear, but just in the way that this place operates. I'm incredibly impressed and thankful for the way that things are done here. And that can be hard to come by, can't it? Sometimes we can kind of feel like there's not really anyone that has the same, morals or ethics as we do, and it can be quite lonely. It can be quite, I'm not sure what the word exactly that I'm trying to look for, but I guess isolating is part of that. But yeah, I think it's really cool when we can find a place that we go, yep, cool. I had the same sense of values, same sense of moral and ethical considerations as this organisation. I think for me, I love that, this place is about family, it's about community, it's about God, and that is awesome. So, well and truly, we are very blessed to have Rhema CC here in this region on the Central Coast. Anyway, I'm going to get back onto what I was actually going to explore today. So most weeks, guys, we have a different sort of theme that I sort of throw out there, and we just kind of wrestle with it a little bit together. And I think it's kind of one of those things that when you're someone like me, you're just born to sort of think about the things that are a little bit deeper than probably the usual everyday person. I think I can get a bit too consumed in thought sometimes. So learning to turn that little brain of mine off is not overly easy, but that's okay. I've learnt to get used to it. I'm just not sure about the people around me because, it doesn't stop. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Listen, I want to talk to you about something that has been on my mind in this last week. Actually, probably last few months, and maybe even the last year. I've seen so many people who are just feeling this sense of instability. There's just no place that they really call home. And it's hard to know how to care for people who are in that state, but I think it's a really good reflection of how society is at the moment. It feels like there's not a lot of stability, or even just, housing is one aspect. I say that day in, day out. There's always issues in our not-for-profit of people who they're living in their cars or their vans, or, they might have a week here at this hotel or whatever it happens to look like. Now, home is just one aspect, and it's a pretty important aspect, but I think we just, if you look at that and you look at the emotions that are associated with not having a place to go home to, it's not the same thing, but I think we can identify, a lot of us can identify with the emotion of just not feeling like you can sort of settle. Like there's just no sort of place just to rest. But thankfully for us, if we look at Matthew 7:24 to 27, we can sort of counteract those thoughts. Anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents and the floodwaters rise and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. When the rains and floods come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. What's your life built on? One simple question, but what's your life built on? We're going to explore that a little bit more shortly. I'll see you guys around in a few minutes. See ya. Yeah, welcome back. It's awesome to have you guys here with us at Rhema CC. That was Keep Looking Up by Britt Nicole. What a great place for us to start for this morning. Hi, I'm Lindy. Nice to have you guys here with us at Rhema CC. As I said previously, we are always, Sunday is a good time for us to catch up. I love being a part of what happens here on a Sunday morning, and I want to say thank you to each of you for just for doing your part in all of it as well. It's really cool that we can share this journey together. Guys, we are talking about, it's a little bit of it's a kind of a theme that's a little bit here and there, but I guess when I was thinking about it during the week, if I was to give it a title, I would say it's kind of, when we're not actually caught between a rock and a hard place. It's kind of that setting of, it's so uncomfortable that we don't have that stability either way. We don't have those moments where we have to make choices because the choices actually look limited to us. That's the kind of place where I'm going with things today. And if I'm specifically thinking about housing, and that's because it's familiar to me. It's what I work with. It's the stories that I see time in, time out. I work with a lot of people who every week there's some issue with accommodation or housing, or there is no accommodation or housing. So it's a very familiar sort of setting to me, and especially with the organisation that I sort of oversee. I think the themes of not being able to just settle and get in the place and the space of I've got somewhere to come home to and call my own is very, very real, and in many ways I see it in not just a housing crisis, but just in a societal crisis. It's like a lot of us don't have that sense of being grounded. We don't have that sense of stability. We don't have that sense of I'm going to be okay. I've got somewhere to go back to. I want to challenge you on this today, guys. If you are in that space, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you're not feeling like life is stable at the moment. I'm sorry that things just feel sort of up in the air. I really do mean it when I say I'm feeling for you, because it's awful not to be able to just go, oh, yep, cool, there's some direction, there's some clarity, there's some whatever. So I get it, and it's very heavy when we can't sort of work out what home is or what's the next step in our life is going to be. It doesn't feel like there's any security in it. But this is the awesome thing. We actually do have that truth, that we've got this God who is this ultimate anchor. He is our hope. He is our restoration. And he is what we can not only build our life on, but stay strong on. I want to encourage you today, guys, just spend some time with God. Spend some time asking him. It might look messy. Ask him what the next step is. And I'm sure that many of you who are Christian, if you are someone of the faith and you know that this is just how life is sometimes. I know it can be really quite debilitating, and it can be spiritually quite damaging, because you're just going, are you sure you've got me, God? But he does. And I want to encourage you today just to stand firm on that truth, and with everything you've got in you, to fight back. Fight back in prayer, fight back in your foundational faith basis, who you are, look at scripture and examine it, work out why you believe the things that you do. And when the world around you seems fragile and uncomfortable and it's just messy and there's no guarantee that tomorrow looks like it's going to be positive, go back to that scripture. Go back to the times in your life where God has delivered you over and over and over again, because there's evidence in the path that you've led to get to this place. And there's evidence in Scripture, and there's evidence that God hears your prayers. He hears your deepest cries. I'll leave it there for a bit, guys. I will see you soon. Good way to kind of follow. This is Hello Unknown by Laura Story. Good morning, Coasties, and welcome again to Rhema CC. Hope you're having a beautiful morning. Welcome to Sunday. Welcome to a new week. Guys, we're just listening to Remind Me by Ginny Owens, and we are talking about things today that might be a little bit familiar to some of you. I've been talking kind of along the lines of, well, I said before, I think the theme that I kind of am going with this morning is almost like when you're not stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, sometimes we feel like we're backed into a corner and we've got two awful choices. Sometimes we feel like we have no choices. So the flip side of that can be, I've got nothing to work with. What do I'm empty. I've got no place to call home at the moment. Now, home for me is one of those things that it would have been the beginning of this year. I pulled together all our volunteers that work at our not-for-profit, and I just said to them, I have felt this real stirring of wanting to transform what we do on a weekly basis and the way that we reach the community as a place of home for a lot of the people that we have that come in and don't necessarily have a home or don't have a great home life. So we have made a real emphasis on placing things, even just down to where we put furniture and just leaving the doors open and just making a real cultural shift in how we open our premises to the community. And I want people to know that it is home and that they can come, they can sit and have their coffee, that they can sit and chat for hours, and we don't care. It's a safe place, and actually it's one of the coolest things, I think, for myself. It can be both frustrating and awesome. It's one of those win-win, win-lose, win. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a weird one. But when you're someone who's trying to get things organised, it can be like, there's people here already. One of the best things that I find on a Thursday is if I'm running late, dropping the kids off to preschool or wherever, and I come to Hope Cottage, which is where I do the voluntary stuff I was talking about, and I see people lined up everywhere. They're just sitting around chatting, and I'm like, this is great. This tells me that they know that this is a place that they can just be at home. And home is just we overlook how valuable it is. It's one of those things that we take for granted. And I think we have to be very mindful in our Christian walk of the people who are in our life who don't have a sense of home. But even if it's not necessarily home, if there's things in their life that just feel scattered and there's all these gaps or these holes that they're just trying to work out how to put the pieces together. Now, I happen to know a guy who, he is the ultimate way of getting those holes filled. I happen to know that he is the most beautiful friend that anyone can have. And while I'm not someone who is likely to push that onto anyone, I am more than happy to sit and say that I'm thankful that I have met a man called Jesus, and that I have this relationship with God that is real and raw, and I can tell him like it is, and he doesn't care. He still loves me. He's still got that door open. He's still got that sense of home, and he's always welcoming. And I think the sense of home at the moment for a lot of people it's a little bit hard to comprehend. It's a lot of people just feel like everything's sort of shaken and uncertain. And again, I just want to say, if you happen to be one of those people, I'm sorry that's where you are at the moment. But I do want to just assure you that you have been given the promise that God does not let you out of his sight. He has you firmly. You can trust that you are able to stand on the rock that is not going to sway, is not going to fold beneath you. It's not built on sand. I want to read you some scripture that's actually related to that. Luke 6:47-49. Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you what he is like. He's like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. And when a flood arose, the stream broke against that house and could not shake it, because it had been well built. But the one who hears and does not do them is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. When the stream broke against it, immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Some of the other ones I've got here in terms of looking at just if we're looking at the house building a house on the sand. I'm just trying to think of the most suitable ones for this particular aspect. I'll just read a couple to you anyway, guys. 1 Corinthians 3:11, for no one can lay a foundation other than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. And as I said before, I'm so thankful that I have that understanding myself personally. I urge you, if you don't know it today, guys, get to know who Jesus is. If you are someone who's new to Christianity, contact your churches that are in the community and get an idea of who this Jesus guy is, because I can assure you, you won't walk away thinking, oh, this is a load of rubbish that's just going to just evolve to nothing. It's not time wasted to get to know who this guy Jesus is. He's a game changer. He is a game changer in how society was built and how it has been restored time and time again. And he is the personal builder within us as individuals. He goes to those places that we don't want to see necessarily. And he says, right, we've got some work to do. And he does it lovingly. And there's some stuff in your life. If you don't know Jesus, I'm sure that there is some stuff there that he will expose to you that you think, oh, okay, this might explain how life got messy. And sometimes that house that we talk about now, the one that just falls apart, or that sense of home, those moments in life where there is no stability. Sometimes we can blame ourselves, and we can actually, they're justified reasons or justified thoughts, or we can actually look at the things that we're doing and go, yeah, okay, I can see that I did that. And other times it can be a moment where Jesus can just walk in and say, I know it feels like it's overwhelming. I know it feels like this is out of your control. But if you follow me, if you genuinely take on what I'm teaching you in my words, I will show you what it's like. I will show you what it's like to be a man of strength. And you will become that, and I will transform you. And it won't matter what floods come. It won't matter what storms hit. You'll just be able to get up and keep moving. And that, my friends, is an awesome truth. It is such a special thing that we can cling to, and we can just, without question, we can just know that he has got us firmly in the palm of his hand. Matthew 7:25, and the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. Guys, if there's some work to do in your life, if there's some stuff there that you need to give to God, you know what to do. Spend some time with him, tell him your weaknesses, tell him what you are feeling, what you're seeing, tell him what life is like for you at the moment. He wants to hear it. He really does take an interest in where you are right now, and he's the ultimate strength for you to get up and keep moving again. We're going to leave it there for a bit, guys. I will see you shortly. And that was Keeper of My Heart by Avalon. So welcome to Sunday, guys. It's Lindy. I'm here at Rhema CC. It's awesome to have you guys on board with us. Hope you're having a good morning. I hope you're not stressing too much. The kids aren't driving you too crazy. If you are someone who is on your way to church with children, I take my hat off to you, because it is quite the struggle some weeks. I do totally applaud your determination is probably the best word I can say. I think that determination some weeks to just go, no, this is happening. It's definitely needed, and I get it because I've been there, I'm still there, and we are battling it all together. One of the biggest and hardest things, I think, from being a minister's wife is trying to do that sort of stuff on my own for a while. It's not so much like that at the moment. It's kind of, we do a bit of a juggle thing, my husband and I. Some weeks I'm leading, some weeks he's on sound, some weeks, he has to be there for other reasons early. So we sort of do the juggle thing, and between us we're sort of throwing it all together. But I do understand that it can be quite wearing when you are the parent that's doing the, got to get you out the door, and it's, time consuming and time stressful. Yeah, it can be really, really hard. I think one of the biggest things I've learnt through my own anxiety is to go, you know what, if I turn up and I'm 10, 15 minutes late, I've made it. I've done okay with these guys. If I've got them in the car, that's a success. If I got them dressed, that's an even better, that's a bigger bonus right there, because let's be realistic, the battle is very real, and some weeks are harder than others, and some weeks you kind of go, oh, they actually obliged. They actually went along with what was happening today. They're in and with me on this journey to get to where we need to be. So I hope your morning is going okay if you are one of those parents who is sort of feeling at the moment or have been this morning. I get it. It's hard some weeks, but honestly, when it comes to the spiritual growth and just for that understanding that you have laid those foundations in their life, it's just so important to have those connections, those Christian connections, where to go, yeah, there are other people out there who share my faith, who share the battles, who share the fact that we have a God who will be there in all of it. And from a young age, for our children to be able to understand that and comprehend it, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm thankful that even though my older kids, a few of them, I'm kind of going, where do you stand? I think underneath everything, I really do believe that they know to the core of who they are, that they've got a God who loves them, who is there to see them through. Even the stuff when they don't want to believe or when they can't be bothered or when it's not cool to believe. I think having that foundation there, that truth is just so important. So parents, if you're doing that this morning, good on you. It's a huge call and it takes some serious strength, but you're doing a great job. And I just want to say that personally from us here. We have got your support. We support you guys 100% just for doing what you need to do in this part of your life, this season, if you like, of your life. So keep doing it because it will pay off in the end. It may look different to what you anticipate, but I think when you just have that core values of belief and faith, I really don't believe that they can sway from that. I believe that there's something in them throughout their life that will stir, even if they're 55 and they're still going, nah, don't believe. I still believe that there's something underneath that as parents we pass on. So, yeah, I just want to encourage you in that. I have completely derailed again. I do this nearly every week, but that's okay. I do apologise. Actually, one more thing I just want to apologise for is the fact that I've been bumping my mic this morning. I hadn't realised I had been, but a few words have been a bit weird, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that, guys. So if you have been listening this morning and think, what is she saying? I promise I have not transformed into some kind of alien or sort of, bizarre thing, but no, I am fully human and I'm here and I am just bumping the mic. So apologies for that. Guys, we're talking home. I want to ask you, what does home look like to you? When I say the word home, what sort of thoughts transpire? What sort of things do you think of? For me, it's a level of comfort. It's a level of security. It's a place just to fall apart sometimes, isn't it? It's a place where we can just collapse and just go, ugh, it's all too heavy. It's all too much. It's a place to be celebrated. It's a place to be able to celebrate. It's a place of comfort in the sense that nowhere else in the world allows you just to be. And I think home is one of those things at the moment that so many of us are struggling to really find. It's not even necessarily a physical home. It might actually be a location. It might be a demographic. It might be a location. It's that place of where do I fit? Where do I feel like I am at home? And we can't underestimate the power of home. Home is one of those things that, it can make us or break us. It can be, if we live a very stressful home life, it can be a case of there is no escape. There is no time to just fall apart, to just feel defeated. And I know I've spoken to people myself when I'm asked this question, what's home to you? And it has been the opposite. It's been a case of, it's significant tension, it's significant stress. So I get it. I know that home life can be like that. But if we look at home in the context of what it's supposed to be, it is supposed to be a place where we feel safe. It is supposed to be a place where we know that we have, we can just be ourselves 100%. And I think the concept of home needs to be disputed and sort of fluffed out and talked about. We need to understand for ourselves what home is like, what it's supposed to be like, so that we as a community can be welcoming people into our home, whether that's our churches, our actual home, whether it can be, it could just be just the way we do things, the way that we interact, being that warm space. Now, I found a Bible verse when I was sort of just doing a bit of a search on home itself, because I know there's lots of different Bible verses about home. And I thought, it's a big, broad subject, so I didn't really know how to narrow it down. But I just want to start with this. Well, probably not even start, but just throw this one at you. Psalm 91, 1-2. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, and my God, in Him I will trust. First and foremost, I think the most thing we're talking about when we talk about living in, being a part of, that sense of home, that sense of I fit here. He who fits in here, in the secret place of the Most High, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. And I think there's something I just want to emphasize there. When things don't feel stable or what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like this. It is a stability, but when we're seeking that out, we can just trust that He is our refuge and our fortress. And we just simply have to just keep trusting Him as much as we possibly can. Guys, I'm going to leave it there, but I just want to encourage you, if home is looking a bit unstable, and I don't mean physically like the actual place of home, I mean if life around you or the connections you have feel unstable, go to God. I've said it over and over this morning. It's one of those things. I just want to encourage you to spend some time. Go to Him and trust the fact that He is your refuge and your fortress. And in Him we can trust. So I'm going to leave it there for a bit, but I just want to encourage you. Spend some more time with Him. Just spend some time and just tell Him, hey, life is unstable at the moment. Home is messy. I don't know what home looks like. Let Him sort it out for you. All right, guys, see you shortly. And welcome back, Coasties. It is awesome you guys are here with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is great that you can spend your Sunday morning here, and your Monday, your Tuesday, your Wednesday, your Thursday, your Friday, and your Saturday. We are so thankful that we are able to spend some time with you guys this morning, but also throughout every single day of the week. And you know what is beautiful about the whole thing with radio is that radio is there 24/7. And what an honour to be able to just spend, part of our lives, us as volunteers here or those who work here, just putting that message of hope out there continuously. It's an honour. It really, really is to be able to just, be able to just be some place where it doesn't matter what your life is looking like. You can just flick on the radio and there's some hope just waiting there for you. And I think in a world that is just so unstable at the moment, and that's a lot of what we've been talking about this morning, actually, the things that are unstable, we can just provide that truth to the community that there is a stability out there, and it's a stability that will just allow us to be grounded, to be focused, to be able to not worry about what tomorrow brings. And I'm so thankful that we have that God and that faith and that knowledge, and we have Jesus to be able to cling to. The stories of Jesus throughout the Bible prove to us time and time again that He is this security that we can cling to. It definitely gives us a reason to smile, which is actually what we were just listening to. And it is a good reason for us to share with our neighbours, our friends, our families, all the good stuff, guys. We have got some truth, that we've got some stability, and we just have to do the right thing and pass that on. We can't be greedy and keep it to ourselves. So thankfully for us here at Rhema, we get to actually do that. We get to put those things out there and share to this community, with this community on a much, it's a louder scale, I guess, to be able to just say, hey, there is a God who loves you. And we just thank you guys for your support in doing that. It's, certainly just recently with the mid-year appeal, it's been great to see how many people have really jumped on that. So thank you, honestly, thank you for your support in doing that, because that's what we're here for. We're here to share the good news that there is hope. And they're not just words, they're genuinely, there is hope in a world that tells them that there's not. And thank you. That's what I want to say. Guys, we have been talking home this morning. Home, not just necessarily our physical home, but the sense of home. I want to urge you this week to think about what home looks like to you. I want to encourage you, if you're someone who is a community member and very community-minded, to become that sense of home. Or if you are that sense of home to those in your world, to be warm, to be welcoming, to be accommodating, to be the place where people turn around. They might have an interaction with you and they will walk off and think, there was something about that person. I felt safe with them. I felt like I could be real with them. I felt like I could just be myself. That's home. That's home, and that's what we are. That's what we're striving for as a Christian community, to be that sense of, I'm okay to be myself and they're going to love me. They're going to show me something better. They're going to give me different ways to do things. They're going to show me the ultimate love. Challenge your thoughts, guys, and home. Think of what home is supposed to be like and keep being it. Keep being what you think of as homely. Stretch those arms out, hug a neighbour, hug a friend, hug a daughter who's crying, a son who needs to just know that you've got his back. Be home to those in a world who are struggling to find home. And be mindful that actually homelessness is a big deal at the moment. I know that's a little bit of a side thought, but it's a reality to me. I'm dealing with it constantly. So my heart is really burning on this one at the moment because I'm just seeing it. And I feel very helpless in being able to accommodate to these situations. So the best that we can do in response, obviously we can't practically always support and we can't always provide home, but we can be as homely as we possibly can. So let me just leave that with you this morning, guys. I hope you have a fantastic week and know you are doing some awesome stuff in this community, and we really appreciate it. Keep being you, keep being God's kids, keep being in contact with him. Let him shape you. It's going to be dangerous, but it's going to be a good dangerous because he's going to change you in the most fantastic way. All right, so long, guys. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye, guys.